All right, it's getting to be pole season. Actually, maybe not quite yet, but it's dry enough and the season is kicking into gear, so it is about high time that I start getting into my poles. I have actually not used them yet this year. I have been using the Instinct Evolution 7-liter pack here. I'm about ready to wrap up my full review, and I haven't been able to test out the quivers just because I haven't been using the poles. So I thought it'd be a good day to get out, do some steep hiking. Did a little workout yesterday, good day to hike out the legs. So I'm gonna go ahead and load it up here. Got a bunch of stuff that I would normally take out on a run. I have tested it. If you watched any of my videos on Road Trail Run or on Humble Running, you'll definitely see me wearing this pack quite a bit. It's been great. I love the versatility of the pack, being able to have water up front, also in the back. I did use it in my 20-mile race out at Wilson Creek. There's a race video on that one as well if you want to see it in action. Plenty of capacity here. That was a shorter race. I didn't have to load it up too much. You definitely can. I won't be doing that today, but I'll be able to show how much you actually can load it up. So let's get going here. They do come with two 20-ounce 600 milliliter soft flasks here. I kind of have a preference for a different type of water bottle, which I'll set up here in a moment. They go right in here. As you can see, they do ride high. This is meant to kind of go over the top and secure the bottle instead of an internal one. I just find these are a little large. I typically have been running with a bladder, so if you're used to running with bottles up front, I find when I have two of these at 600 milliliters, that's not something that I'm used to, having that much volume right on my chest. Even though they are quite secure and very high, I just like maybe slightly smaller bottles. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those aside. And I do like these straws here. I find like, even though they are high, you know, they're still kind of down here. And I don't know if I have maybe a taller neck or something. I still, you know, I find that uncomfortable when I'm running. Personal preference. I've got these. These are just, I have a couple different options. This is just a regular, they're all Hydro Pack flasks, at least these other ones that I have. And I like these little straws here. And what I've been doing, I did this in my race video, I loop this around so when it does slide down, it'll catch on the top of this, and then I can just pull it right up and drink easily. I've got this other kind of little different kind of a shape from Hydro Pack here. Just thought I'd throw two different options in there. Again, I like to lace this over the top. That works pretty cool. And then I find they're just closer. Instead of going way down here, they're right here. And then as the bottle drops down to the bottom, I could easily pull it up like this and get to it. I'm gonna throw an extra jacket in the back. I got all these hoods in the way. Where is it? There it is. That is a dedicated stash pocket, easily accessible if I didn't have two double hood situation on right now. 3 gels here. I'm not going that far today. This is just more for demonstration. It's great that these pockets do not overlap. They have a diagram on the website, Instinct does, where they put like a massive amount of gels, and there's tons of space in here. So I put these on the inner layer here, and I could probably fit like 10 gels in here easily. And then you have a separate outer layer here if you wanted to kind of separate different types or other small items. It's kind of short for this length of a tripod, but it's no problem. We have an overlapping pocket again here below the bottles. So when you're getting the bottles in and out, you don't have to worry about squeezing them past other gear that you have. There's one zipper pocket. Works for my action cam. And there's an overlapping pocket over the zipper area. So these two kind of do eat into each other a little, but the mesh is quite stretchy. I'm gonna throw some extra gloves in there. And my pull time, my licky pulls. I got my hood in the way. There goes one. Oh my. There goes another. I think we're ready to run. Wait, I shouldn't be wearing this. Okay, I'm gonna change real quick and then we'll go. This gully here is a bit muddy. Gonna just head back and hit that other one up the side ridge. Heading downhill now. Typically, I'm a bladder guy, not a front soft flask guy. And these, seem to have a lot less bounce in this configuration. This setup high on the chest may convert me. I mean, obviously soft flasks up front are way easier at aid stations. I do think that hydration bladders, just where they're oriented on the back, right up against the torso, they just feel way more stable. But yeah, filling them up, taking them out at aid stations can be a pain if you like to be in a hurry. Might do one round of hiking here first before I bust out the poles. So I do love this Instinct vest here because it's just rock solid. I did wear it in my 20-mile race. I'm running fast in that race, not like a long ultra there. And it just felt like really nice on the body. It rides high. You can see it's really up in the middle of my rib cage and higher. Doesn't really constrict down below. The bottles are high, easily accessible in that race. I did have a bladder to start, and I had these filled with mix, and that made it easier for that shorter distance to not waste too much time. And that worked out great. Aside from the straws freezing, I find the organization great. I love that these pockets down here, they seem like they would be small, but being that the bottles don't overlap, you can definitely fit a ton of gels in there. Plenty spacious. Same on this side. And you have the zipper. Always love to have at least one zipper pocket. There. Nice day, huh? So I like my little straw setup here again. Pretty easy access. If you are used to soft flasks up high with the nozzles and all that, you'll have no problem. 600 milliliter flask is pretty big. It's good that they provide those. I mean, I think it's becoming apparent that everybody should be hydrating more than we thought we should have been in the past. So having a higher option, higher capacity option, definitely a good idea from Instinct here. I got these. I'll probably mix it in with maybe a handheld that I could stash in the back. There is a kangaroo pocket back here, and also I may mix in kind of a hydration bladder for some of my longer races. It's kind of a couple ridges, went up the gulch there, and then you could kind of hike up and down these ridge lines. They're a bit steeper. That's probably where I'll test out the poles. I've got the dual quiver in the back, all right? Something completely unique. I am a Quiver fan for sure. I've been using Solomon's version. I've even been adapting that one on different packs just because I think Quiver's the best way to hold the poles. Ultra Spire also came out with their own quiver now. I have that one, haven't tested it yet. But I've never seen a dual quiver where you put one pole in each. So that was very interesting to me. You know, sometimes you gotta fold up one and you could throw it back there rattling around, and sometimes they get tangled up. It could possibly be easier. Take them out, put them back in one at a time. I haven't tested it, you know, under stress in a race type situation yet. We'll see how that works, or if it's just easier throwing two in. They do have a double quiver, Instinct does. I feel like quivers, but maybe one at a time seems like a weird idea. You can definitely get the double. Coming down the descent again here, moving a little quicker. You can see hardly much bounce. The bottle I have here is a little wider than this Solomon one, and this one seems to really have no bounce. If you're like me, you probably have an assortment of soft flasks at this point. If you dial in the right one, like it seems to be on this side for me. It's the first time actually I use this flask in here. I could definitely see myself going with soft flasks up front with this vest and kind of an optimized soft flask bottle, whatever that may be for you. What a day out here. So that's the ridge I just came down, and I will go back up now. Pretty steep. It's got to be about 30%, I'd say. Actually, probably even more. I had some trouble getting pole into the polster. The first one, I don't know, maybe it's the way I have it oriented. The left one seems to be kind of sticking out more, and the right one for some reason seems a little lower. Maybe look at how I have that rigged up. Being that they're designed for only single poles, one thing is the opening is smaller. I'm used to the Solomon one, has a wider opening to accommodate throwing 2 poles in there, and I find I could really find that without really looking at all. This one seems to be, maybe I gotta take a peek to see where it is, maybe fish around a little. There's also a lot of kind of tabby things to attach it. I think maybe a bit too much. Could be getting jammed up when I'm trying to get it in. Instinct uses like a bungee system here with a little closure thing, and you loop them through the quiver attachment points. But the excess bungee is kind of just hanging around here. The Solomon and also the new Ultraspire I got, they have little metal clips that hook into those fabric tabs, and they just, so you know, there's nothing flopping around there. I think that's a better setup. Yeah, and just looking at tabs and things, this vest has a kind of excessive number of little tabby things. These are bungee cord attachments, of course. You can do front bungee attachments. There's bungee attachments across the rear if you didn't want to use the quiver. But even these little bungees to hold the bottle, they had little plastic clips here, which were pretty heavy duty. Maybe it's better if you've got gloves or something. But when I was filming, they were just rattling around like crazy. It would sound louder in my videos, but then once I started hearing it, I was like, wow, these things are rattling all over. I would tuck them inside of these pockets, and they would just rattle against the tops of my bottle lids. And once it was in my head, I just couldn't take it anyway, so I just trimmed them. Also, there's the zipper here is like rattling around kind of like a lot. There was another, I think this, I might have taken off a zipper attachment here. There's just kind of a lot of rattly things, maybe perhaps overdone. Quick stop here just to take a closer look. Yeah, these are side bungees for the poles, which, and there's also other ones here, so you could put your poles down the front. I personally don't like that, so when I'm done reviewing, I'm probably gonna take these off. I always use the quiver. The side bungee attachment here, there's quite a long string here to pull it. This is a one size vest, so I'm pretty thin framed, and you can see how spread out it is, which is, I've got it where I like it, and I'm able to fit this on me pretty, it's perfect. The fit is absolutely perfect, and I think if you're larger, you could definitely, there's plenty of space here to kind of orient these front panels wherever you want on your chest. I don't know if these would dig in more if you were bigger. I feel, you know, you feel the edge of the rivets, the cords on my side, feel it in the sense that they're there, but I don't notice any pressure at all. It doesn't bother me. I don't know if you had a bigger torso and it was stretched out more and those cords were on you. I don't think it would. They're pretty stretchy. I wouldn't foresee any problem there. See, for this one, I actually put a little piece of gear tape on this because this was just rattling around like crazy. Of course, next to my microphone, but even when I'm just running, it's just making a lot of noise. These things, again, I trimmed off. They had big plastic tabs. I took them in here and they would just rattle away. This one I do have to check on. It seems like this one, maybe I have it too tight. There's adjustments here to kind of orient how tight you want to have this. Possibly have the right side too tight. Yeah, so you got these, you can loosen or tighten how tight the quiver is, probably depending on how much you have stuffed in the back there. It's a 7-liter vest. I find good capacity. Again, you got the water completely out of the way. So these pockets look a little on the smaller side, but being that there's zero overlap, it's really, you can fully utilize these pockets, whether a lot of vests have 3 pockets that overlap and it's like, oh wow, great, 3 pockets, but they're just completely eating into each other's space. You're gonna have this, just pull that right out real quick. The top stash pocket, you can see there's some bungee cords on there. If you wanted to stuff something pretty heavy in there or thicker, I think you could like pull those bungees pretty tight. There's a pass-through kangaroo pocket. These are for poles, of course. You could also stash stuff in here. Well, let me pop it off for a sec. So, got my jacket pocket. This is its own separate thing over here. They have a handy little Velcro tab here if you don't want things popping out the top. I can't imagine they would, but maybe if you were overloading it and it was kind of sticking out the top, you could kind of strap it in there. There's a separate hydration bladder. I've used this with a hydration bladder a lot, and it's great. So there's a dedicated bladder compartment or sleeve area along the back, which is perfect. See this honeycomb material, very breathable, mesh, non-absorptive. So you put your hydration bladder in there, Velcro tab, nice and easy. Then you have behind that a full-length panel that goes all the way down. Oops, sorry, got it all tangled up. So separated here, you have another full length of the back panel here that goes all the way down. That's kind of overlapping where the bladder is on the other side of this yellow. You have this top pocket here. These are the little tabbies where you could kind of extend them out. If the under pockets were really stuffed tight, you would loosen these up so your jacket pocket would be out a little bit further. You have a pocket against the lower back. Got my little droney in here, right through there. And that, I find that one I can get into. If I unbutton the bottom button and I just pull it up a little, I could reach and get stuff in this pocket. Overlapping that is where you have the kangaroo pocket. So you have the kangaroo pocket separate from this top entry pocket. So really good design there. Multiple ways to get in there. Again, here's the bungees for the poles. I personally don't like the poles. Like, I don't know, it bothers my back. I'm just a quiver guy, so take a quick look at these again. So you see how these, you just loop them around these, and then again, there's just like extra flappy things. Seems to be a lot of these around with this vest. I would prefer if they had those little metal tabs like the Salomon has. That would just be easier. And these things, you know, when you're trying to get the poles in, you could see how you could easily get hung up in one of these things. So maybe I have to, I don't know, tuck them in or cut them or tie them off in a different way. I'd have to think about that more closely. So again, if I just button one up here, if I undo this one, I could pull this up, like pretty easily get into this pocket down here. So that would be something that doesn't necessarily need to be as quick access as a jacket going on and off, but maybe you would want to get into without having to take the vest off. That'd be easy spot to store things, and then any long-term stuff you would put in one of the larger rear compartment areas there. Gels again right here, plenty of space, zipper pocket. Yeah, really loving this vest. I think at 7 liters, with the variety of areas and how adaptable it is with having the jacket separate and easily accessible, these fully available for gels and hydration and extra kind of like layers and stuff. You got the bladders totally out of the way, hydration bladder. Hey doggy. Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
Hi. Sorry.
Oh, you doing laps?
Yeah.
Awesome. So you got the flasks up here, no problem, out of the way. Aid stations will be easy. I'm really considering switching over this, at least trying at a test race. You know, I've been using the bladder, but you saw me going up and down there. The bounce is the thing that gets me. Pretty much every pack I've had, the bounce is what bothers me and prevents me from using this in a race situation. This is the best I've had so far. I guess, I don't know, the size of these pockets, of course they're located high. I like what I did here with the straws here. It's just, it works really well, and I may actually go with this for racing this season. We'll see how it works out. All right, so here's the thing, I'm right-handed, so typically when I use my quivers, if I need to do anything, I always do it with my left hand, and then I grab the poles with the right. Being that I have 2 quivers now, what I was doing is I was putting the right pole in first while I had the other pole, and it was kind of like mixing me up because I'm not used to it. So I think I've figured out what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna grab the left side first here, like so, and then once I've got these, I could more easily grab this one here, okay? Putting them back in was kind of the issue for me again. So what I'm gonna do is, being that I got my left hand free, easily stuff that in there, and then I could, without having 2 poles in my hands, easily find this one. Uh-oh, missed. See, again, I think maybe it's a little tricky because it's too narrow. It is good balance though, I have to say. That's one advantage if you had like a regular quiver. Sometimes it's, you have it off on one side, or it's kind of like across the back, and that could feel weird with what you have loaded up. This, honestly, they're off to the side, and it just feels like I notice it a little bit less than sometimes that double quiver can kind of pull the vest awkwardly in one direction or another. So if that's something maybe you have issues with, this could be something to look into. You know, if you had your poles in there, and maybe if you didn't have super lightweight ones, or just if you want to have them snugged up, it could sometimes pull this panel this way, and then you tighten this side up if you're going crosswise, and it kind of can like misalign your vest or feel weird. So if that strikes you as something that you deal with, take a look at this one. I'm gonna head up that ridge probably for my next round. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out the written review. I'll write up some stuff on there, but it's good to see stuff in action. All right, gonna head up there. Try the pole stow in reverse this time. All right, so that went a lot smoother. I did not take my right-handedness into account the first time I tried it. Again, my first day out with poles on trail. I played around with it in the house, but on the move is different. So yeah, that's the method for me. Left side first, then right side. Just works much easier. Just passing through. Hey guys.